Hello, it's your financial friend Maggie. Welcome to the Inside Out Money Podcast. Hey, Liz.
Hi, Maggie. Good morning.
Good morning. I like your we both have like morning. Well, you have like a sultry morning voice. I have sort of a like a not so sultry morning voice.
No, you sound lovely, but it is kind of early
thanks.
for both of us. So
It's good to see
dear
your
listener,
face.
just know that we love you enough to set an alarm to find time to record.
I think that's a nice thing to point out. And I just want to tell you, I'm just going to tease this because we're going to get into the topic. And if we have time at the end, I'll talk more about this. But this is no longer early for me, just so you know. I'm 6 days into a new chapter in my life.
Are you being sleep trained like an infant?
I am like, I was going to say like a dog, but that's crate trained. Yes, I am being sleep trained like an infant. I'm also being like accountability
but you're being
trained.
stealth about it. You are not telling everyone about it yet. So you're being stealth, much like
today's
episode. Bring it back.
Yeah, I'm bring it back, Liz. Reel me back in. Okay. Welcome to Inside Out Money. This is a personal finance podcast that goes off on a lot of tangents, but we are focused on redefining wealth from the inside out. Every week, I speak with a rotating set of co-hosts about a different financial topic to help you improve your financial mindset and tactics. And today we have Liz, and we are going to talk about stealth wealth.
Stealth wealth.
Where did you first hear this term, Liz? I think I heard it from you.
I don't remember.
Maybe.
Oh, really?
I think you suggested it like a year ago as a topic, and it's sort of been on our list of things to do. I could be wrong, but I feel like I learned it from you.
Maybe I did suggest this topic. That was a very long time ago.
I learned a lot of things from you.
Oh, that's kind. I learn a lot of things from you. I learn a lot of things from you, actually.
Really? I feel like I learn more from you than you learn from me.
I think, okay.
Maybe that's just how we see the world, you know?
Here goes the first rabbit hole.
Okay, let's go. We haven't even gotten started yet.
Here's the reason that you might think you learn things from me, because my very worst habit in the world is I am an actually person. So if I hear something, it's not quite right, or I have something to say about it, or I know a little fact about it, I will push my glasses up my nose and go, actually... Did you know? And Maggie,
like Urkel from
like what?
Like Urkel from Fresh Prince. Wait, isn't that what he's from?
Urkel is from Family Matters. Oh my God, I just did it. Actually, Urkel was from Family Matters.
He is from Family Matters. You're right.
Like it doesn't matter.
Push.
It matters 0% that you said
that,
and I can't let it go. So, but then like a normal human would be annoyed by that. But one of the things that I like the most about you, and I was actually thinking about you this week and thinking about how much I admire you. Sorry to embarrass you this early in the morning, but I was just thinking about how, and this is I think one of the best things that a human can do is be sort of open to not knowing something. Or changing their mind and going, oh, I didn't know that. Okay, interesting. Or, oh, that might make me change my opinion about something. And I think I think you do that better than probably 90% of humans. And I think that's great.
I appreciate you saying that. We are never going to get to today's topic because there's so many fascinating things about what you just said. One, I would just like to say one of your best qualities, I don't even know if I'd say best because I think you have other better ones, but is like you are very self-aware. So even your comment about like you saying actually and sort of half joking that that's like your worst habit. If that's your worst habit, like you're a great person. But your comment about me being like open to new perspectives and, you know, my sleep, I'm just going to bring it back around to the sleep thing, which is
now an episode about sleep as well. Sleep as well.
Stealth wealth. Yeah. Stealth sleep. This is a sleep podcast now, which is really what I need in my life. And what has finally unlocked something in me in a way that I don't want to be too much in the honeymoon period. And I will talk about this more in the future, but I'm just going to, for the sake of time, I'm going to
be in the honeymoon period. Like be excited.
Okay. Well, I'm here and I'm in the honeymoon period. I'm drinking the effing Kool-Aid. There is something that has reframed my mind, and it has come from a 25-year-old. And I was talking to some people this weekend and they were like, what can you learn from a 25-year-old? And I was like, well, it seems like a hell of a lot because I don't believe, I was telling this person who I am paying for this advice, by the way, that I was like, you know, many people would be like, what can a 45-year-old woman learn from a 25-year-old I was going to say kid, but young man. But he is really good at some things that I am really bad at. And it's not sleep per se. It's self-respect and accountability and doing things for myself. And it is,
Whoa.
It's life altering. Okay. I'm just going to leave. We're going to put a pin in that. Okay.
Okay. I was gonna say we could right this second.
It's
go
not
to,
too late to call an audible
and like make the episode about that.
Or we could just make it a like there is no topic. This if you want to hear this week, it's Liz and Maggie.
This is like a tease for like a Patreon one day where we just go up.
No, this is free for everybody, but there's just you might not get a lot of financial advice in here. I don't know.
I was also going to tell you that I changed my car insurance.
No, not to a different company.
No, I didn't change it to a different company.
You said you'd never.
No, I didn't. And I didn't, but I just updated my car insurance.
Oh, how much did you save?
Like $1,000.
Because you were like overinsured or you pulled off the.
Yeah, I dropped the collision and the so we talked at the end of the year episode about, I was like, why is mine so expensive? And then I dropped the collision and the comprehensive, which I understand the trade-offs. So I don't have that, which means like if there's a hailstorm or my car gets stolen or I crash my car, then like it'll pay for any damage that I do to someone else, but it won't pay for the damage to my car. So basically I'm saving $1,000 a year and I'm taking on the liability of like my car, which is worth about $30,000. Like if something happened to it, I'd have to pay for it myself.
May I ask a question?
Of course.
Because I just learned this myself, and this is financial related, so this is like important. And we're going to decide in the next 10 minutes if we still talk about stealth wealth or if we call an audible. Okay. But did you talk to a rep when you did that, or did you do it all yourself online?
No, I just did it myself.
Okay. I feel like I might. The reason I asked if you talked to a rep, because I feel like a rep would have guided you through this. But if you did it yourself, you might have missed this. And I just learned this from my mom. And you might say, similar to my 25-year-old comment, what are you going to learn from a 78-year-old?
No,
which I wouldn't say. I know, I'm just joking. But
well, also, didn't she work in car insurance for?
That's my point.
Wasn't that
her entire career, her entire job, her whole life? I think. Well, until she sort of semi-retired and took on some odd jobs, she was a claims adjuster for large insurance companies.
Yeah,
and as kids of all ages do. Sometimes we dismiss what our parents tell us, whether we're teenagers or whether we're 45. We're kind of like, well, okay.
Sometimes we treat our mom like the 25-year-old. Like, what could I learn from you?
Yeah. Or mom, like,
even though they raised you.
Yeah. Like, Mom, I've got AI. I don't need your 30 years of experience.
Oh my gosh, Maggie, you really are down the rabbit hole with AI.
I didn't tell her that though.
I just need everyone to know that I was here's the thing that has bothered me. Actually?
I'm going to write down a note, by the way, to say that I have to go back to my comment, my USAA advice for you. Actually, it's all insurance advice, but I'm writing a note.
I'm not going to get that far. I'm not going to get that far away from it. Okay. Twice in the last week or so, I have asked someone I know who I consider smart for their opinion, like their reasons.
Not AI's
I want
opinion,
to know what's in their
opinion.
brain.
Okay.
And they're like, so I asked you, because you and I have the same car insurance carrier. I said, hey, do you have the app that like tracks whether you use your phone when you're driving?
Yeah.
And how does that work for you? Because I have it, but I don't know if it's working all the way. Anyways. And then you sent me back a screenshot. Like you asked Gemini, like, how can Liz save money on her car insurance? And then sent me the screenshots from Gemini. And I was like, Maggie, I could have done that. I wanted Maggie intelligence, not artificial
I'm not sure where Maggie intelligence and AI intelligence separate. It's become a blurry line these days.
And then I asked my friend who has a beautiful home, who just has, really curated the furniture and furnishings in her home. And I was asking her a question. I put mirrors on either side of my bed, and I was like, should the mirrors be taller than the headboard, do you think, or should they be the same height or not as tall? And she goes, oh, you got to put that into AI. AI will tell you. And I was like, I know I can do that, but I want to know your opinion because you have amazing taste. Like, so anyways, this is me just lamenting the loss of
your friend's knowledge.
My friends being willing to share their smarts with me, I guess. But thank you for sharing your Gemini screenshots with me.
Well, look, I feel a little guilty because I want to clarify something right now.
Okay.
While you were telling that story, I'm on AI because I want to there's a piece of advice I want to give you that my mom gave me, but I want to double check not the advice my mom gave. I want to clarify another related piece because I'm still confused about this piece of car insurance. But what my mom told me, and she was actually my husband Greg took my mom to a doctor's appointment last week for me because I had a conflict. I usually take her every month to her eye appointment where she gets shots in her eyeball for macular degeneration.
Sorry.
She has 5 needles. Oh, sorry. I won't describe it. I know you don't like that. Sorry. My bad.
Swedish.
Okay. We're not going to describe it, but
So Greg took
so
your mom
he
to the
took her.
appointment.
He had a lot of time with her. It was like a few hours for her. We won't say why he took her.
For her arm.
For her arm.
My partner one time, there was like a very slight possibility. It didn't turn out to be true, but had to go in and get these special scans because potentially maybe had eye cancer.
What?
And But didn't. Yeah. But there was like a lot of conversation about like, well, what if and what's the treatment going to look like? And you got to go do this thing. Anyways, and I'm so squeamish about eyes that we just had to say arm. And I was like, all right, well, I guess worst case scenario, they'll give you a glass arm. And then we'll go from there. So, okay. So your mom went in for her arm appointment.
Love us is all I wanted to say. Okay. So my mom went. Okay. So during this, I'm not with my mom. I'm getting all of this like secondhand from Greg.
Okay.
And so in the middle of this situation, I'm also dealing with this insurance claim, which will be a future episode, but somebody rear-ended me, very gently rear-ended me, but still did a decent amount of damage.
Okay.
And it was like 1,000,000% his fault. And I have it on video. I've been sitting for like 2 minutes at a stoplight and like he just wasn't paying attention and like rolled into me. Ugh. After I'd been sitting still for a while. So I was very confused. And he had been behind me sitting still also. And then like took his foot off. Anyways.
And he just accidentally.
We had a ton of dogs. He had a ton of dogs like all over his lap. And he was like little. He was, yeah. Okay. So.
Oh, he's a dog person? He probably wasn't.
Yeah, I know. Immediately you're like, oh, he seems like a nice guy. Are you sure it wasn't my fault? It's my fault that the dogs distracted him, and I should have paid attention to what was happening with the dogs behind me.
Okay. What did your mom say about
my car's been in the shop? I've had all these issues, and I'm not going to get into it, but something happened to my windshield that was secondary. And so my mom is educating Greg that I was like, well, she's like, insurance can cover your windshield, and I was like, yeah, but I have $1,000 deductible, and she's like, why do you have such a high deductible on comprehensive? Because I want to state something. This is what AI just clarified for me.
Okay.
There's liability, which is when you cause damage to others, you have to carry that.
Right.
Collision is expensive. That's when you cause an accident that's when something happens to your car. Yeah. And then there's comprehensive, which is like hail, theft, fire, glass. It's funny. In this AI, it says comprehensive is expensive. Is that true? So, well, all I know is when I changed my deductible, my mom said basically like, I was like, well, I have $1,000 deductible, so I'm not going to put in a claim for this windshield because the windshield's $1,400. And my mom was like, you should be able to change your deductible for that. And to change the deductible on my comprehensive, but not on everything else, was not that expensive. And so all I was saying is technically you could maybe keep the comprehensive, but not the collision. Did you price it like both ways?
I didn't, but I think I already had the highest deductible set on all of them.
Well, not even just the deductible, but did you price keeping comprehensive in and losing just collision?
I took off one. I can't remember which one I took off first, but I took off one first, and it was like, you can't, these are together. So if you take off one, you're going to lose the other one.
That's interesting.
And then I was like, okay. And then I was also, a couple things.
I feel like the whole point of the story, I don't have good advice anymore for you. So we've gone down a rabbit hole that is not helpful to other people.
Okay, really, I tried to increase my deductible even more, but it wouldn't let me go over $1,000. And I might call still and see if they will let me set it to like even 2,000. Mine won't too.
Yeah, it will on home. It will on home policies.
My home one
go
is
up to like 10% of your house. Yeah, you can go ridiculously high. It is interesting. You cannot go any higher. I assume that is.
I'm going to try calling and see if there's something they can do, but I don't know. And then the other thing about, I was looking at my liability coverages and they're really high. I have like maybe not the highest, but close to the highest on everything. And I thought, oh, does this make sense for these to be so high? Could I bring them down? But I can't because I have my umbrella policy through USAA, through the same company, through the same carrier. And so I think those two are also related. Like they want you to have the higher coverage.
They are, but you don't. I do know this from my own doing it. You do not have to have the highest. You have to have somewhere. Yeah. It's basically a point between the like legal required limit in your state and the amount. There's a middle amount that the umbrella makes you carry. And it is not the highest that possible, I will say. I learned that.
Yeah, I think on the, you know, you and I have the same thing. So there's a drop down, right? And there's maybe 10 or 12 options. And I feel like it's never 9 or 10. It's not all the way to the top. But anyways, I was thinking about you. I should have just told you that before we got on the podcast. But I was like, oh, we're recording. So I'll just tell you that.
I went on AI to see if you could increase it past $1,000. I just would like to confess that.
Maggie,
I know you look at me so disappointed.
Told you. The thing is, like, I told you, you can't do it online. Like regular Google without even a Gemini layer can tell you that, like, you might be able to do it if you call. I will just tell you. I'll call and then I will text you.
Tell me how it goes.
Say,
how about that?
That's what I'm saying.
Tell me how it goes. Yeah, I know. I was just like laughingly repeating what you said. If that makes sense.
I don't like shit. I'm a middle of the road AIer. I'm not like never. It's the evil robots are going to take over. I saw something yesterday that was like, this is going to be a fad. It's going to go away. Like there's a backlash growing. And I was like, there's no way. That is like saying the internet is going to go away. Like,
but there were people that said the internet was a fad.
And and they were very incorrect.
Wrong. Yes, they were wrong. And they look silly.
Right. But I also don't want to like just be like pouring water down the drain by like asking something to make a video of like a cat riding a bicycle because we already have cats riding. We have cats riding bicycles at home.
I just want you to know I don't do that with AI.
Oh, I know. I don't think you use it irresponsibly. I just laugh when I'm.
But there was something the other day.
Oh yeah. Wait. No. Okay. This I want on the record. The literal record. Because actually.
Okay. It's on the record. We're recording.
You texted me and you said, hey, I just got a walking pad, but I don't think it's tracking my steps when I'm at my standing desk.
Okay. Yeah, you could put this on the record.
And I said, and I pushed my glasses up my nose and I said, well,
actually.
I said, you need to put your phone in your pocket or put your Apple Watch in your pocket.
In my pocket. Yeah.
And do you remember
Which works
what
wonders,
you said?
by the way. I said, I don't know if that'll work. Or did I say that I had already asked AI?
You said you hadn't asked AI.
Whatever I said was wrong. I know that. From the tone of this story.
Sorry. So actually what you said.
Tell me. I have a bad memory. You have a better idea what I said.
Okay.
I remember this happening though.
You said it's not tracking when I'm like standing at a walking desk typing. And I said, well, yeah, of course, because it doesn't know that you're walking because your hands are on your keyboard and your arms are moving.
Which I was shocked by.
And you said, no, my watch knows when I'm walking, even when I don't swing my arms, because if my hands are in my pocket, it still goes.
Uh-huh.
And I said, no, it's not going to work when you're typing, though, because like the motion of typing doesn't feel like walking. Whereas when your hands are in your pocket, that feels like walking to the thing.
There's
right?
a little bounce. I know.
I like how you're bouncing.
We're video demonstrating the bounce.
Exactly. We were both sitting here bouncing up and down. And I said, you have to put your thing in your pocket. And you were like, I'm going to ask Gemini. And I was like, I just told you, Maggie.
You know, I just like to like trust but verify.
Yeah.
But actually, that's what you're supposed to do with AI.
And exactly. It's supposed to go.
Not with Liz.
You don't have to verify. Have I ever steered you wrong? Have I ever told you anything that was wrong?
You told me. Can we go on the record here?
Yes. Because
I actually got a couple listener comments about this one. Okay. You said USAA is always the cheapest insurance company. Okay. It's just not true. But I do love your brand affinity for USAA. Like they're a great company. And I'm with them now, so I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. But it is not true that they're always the cheapest. And a few listeners also
frequently.
They are often the cheapest.
Yes.
Frequently. I'm down for the word frequently. Okay. And they also have like some of the highest customer service ratings.
Correct.
Maybe the highest.
Okay, so actually, I would say that wasn't wrong as much as it was just hyperbole. I didn't mean that they were literally the cheapest all the time. I just mean they're always the cheapest.
Said.
But
Okay,
it's like
I know,
when
I
you
know.
go,
I'm just,
if you
I know,
said,
I'm just
"Oh, I
messing
shop
with you.
at Aldi because it's always the cheapest," I'm sure I could find one thing that was cheaper.
Could you
at a
remind
regular
me
grocery store.
what a hyperbole is? Because if you don't, I will ask Gemini right now.
What if you
I know
just
what a
Googled
hyperbole
it,
is,
though?
but I just want to but you know when you Google it now, it just
But you
puts
can
the
just-
Gemini answer at the top.
But you know you can hit minus AI and then it won't.
I would never do that. Why would I do that?
Wait, let me go back to the watch story and then I will tell you what hyperbole means.
Okay.
So then you were like, I'm going to ask AI. And I was like, Maggie, I literally just told you. And then, so you're asking AI. And then while I'm typing to you, you can like see my 3 little dots going. And I go, don't get the ankle strap. For some reason, everyone thinks you need an ankle strap to put your watch on your ankle. And you don't. Just put it in your pocket. You don't need to like buy a plastic thing that's going to live forever that you buy on Amazon. And then you texted me back immediately. You were like, too late, Gemini already told me to get an ankle strap. Are you going to show me your ankle strap right now?
No, I didn't. Why would I buy an ankle strap? Do I seem like that kind of person? I have
but you just sat back.
wealth. No, because what I was going to show you is I was going to try to see if it'll fit around my ankle, the actual watch.
Oh, you're just regular Apple Watch. Yeah, some people do that, I think, but
it won't fit. My ankle's too big.
You don't need
but
to do
I was
just
trying to bring us back to stealth
pocket.
wealth. I would never buy an ankle strap when I could just put it in my pocket like you told me to do.
Yeah. Okay. That makes me feel good. Thank you for saying.
I know. I know. I was like,
trying to
if
bring
you
it
could
back.
see our facial expressions. Someday we got to have a video podcast.
We're
On
very
Patreon.
serious and angry. This is how we work out our arguments. We just save it for the
I know. So
Okay.
You saw me try to bring that back around to stealth wealth, though, right? Like,
I did.
yeah.
You always do.
I actually believe, just for fun, I think we can actually talk about stealth wealth and do it the way Erica and Andrew and I sometimes do episodes, where it is truly, let's do it. I think it'd be fun. Okay. So in case you are
sorry,
like
my brain
20
is
minutes
just going to
into
get
this.
But also hyperbole just means like an exaggeration for effect.
Okay, yes. I did Google it instead of, and it was such a simple question. It did not pull in AI. It just told me the definition of hyperbole, which I did know, but I know what a hyperbole is, but sometimes I like to like read the definition to just remind me, like, you know. So yes, it was not meant to be taken literally. So it was my fault that I took it literally.
Well, no.
I'm totally just joking. I was just
sometimes people mean always. Actually,
I know. Yeah. I say literally a lot when I don't actually mean literally. So,
well, literally, I think is an interesting word because it has come to mean both literally and figuratively at the same time.
Yes,
depending on how you're. It's like aloha. It can mean hello and goodbye. It can mean literally or.
We literally have stealth wealth, like both of us literally have stealth wealth.
Yes.
Okay. Could we define stealth wealth? Look at me trying
do you think you could do it without using AI?
I think I can,
like,
but I'm going
to already used AI to make the show notes.
Joke's on you, Liz.
To be clear, I'm not anti-AI. I just want to use it.
I think you're. Yeah, I agree. I don't
I'm
think
like
you're
a moderate.
anti-AI. I think you are. Yeah, you're a centrist. I get it.
Also, every time someone talks about like the state of AI in the world, I just mentally slot in the word the internet and imagine how this would sound in the 90s when someone's like, oh yeah, AI is going away, there's a backlash. I'm like, I'm sure someone said that about the internet, or someone said,
oh yeah, AI is using up so much water and electricity. Yeah, so is the internet. I know. I was throwing it back at you. I was throwing your own thing. So you're saying so some of the stuff's real actually, but yeah, I agree.
Do think
people saying
like it's gonna it's gonna rot your brain. How are kids ever gonna learn? What is this gonna mean for healthcare? Like again, you could just slide
it's
in.
Also
what is
like social media, the internet. Yes.
What is the internet going to change about job interviews?
Social media is going to rot our brain. Well, it is.
I trust that like humans have navigated the Industrial Revolution and the internet and every other wild life-changing invention we've come up with. And we have amassed a lot of wealth along the way, some of which is stealth.
I was going to say, do you know what I trust?
What?
I trust that stealth wealth is a concept that's important for all of you guys to hear today, and that we can do it.
We can do it. This is going to end up being like Oh, this is a very niche reference, but do you remember? I think it was Jimmy Kimmel at the end of every episode would be like, "Oh, and we had Matt Damon, but we don't have time for him to come out." It's going to be like, "Oh, we were going to talk about stealth wealth."
Yeah, in the last minute. Okay, well, here's the deal.
Okay,
stealth wealth is the idea of keeping your true net worth from the outside world, but not in like a hidden way, right? This isn't like lying wealth. This is stealth wealth. So it is the concept of even your own friends and family might not know how much you have amassed. It's the idea of living comfortably, but not ostentatiously. It's the idea of maintaining a very modest, unassuming lifestyle, despite having larger, more significant financial resources where you could potentially live a more ostentatious lifestyle, right? I think people, it's the millionaire-next-door book concept. Don't you go off on a tangent I know you want to go off on about that. You see, I like how she has her mouth, she's like zipping her. I felt like that was a very accusatory comment I pointed at you a little too aggressively, only because we were just texting about a podcast that was sort of like talking about that book.
Who's going down the rabbit hole now, Maggie?
Sorry, well, I wanted to you're right. Okay.
There was a podcast that was really mean about that book, and I didn't.
Oh, it was mean? I didn't listen to it. You said it was like silly and something, so I was like, and then you sent me a link to it, and I was like, well, I'm not going to listen to it based on that, Rick.
You don't ever listen to something just because you think it's going to be terrible? Like you kind of hate listen to it?
I do. We've talked about this. Sometimes I do. And especially if you send it to me because I want to listen to it with you. But
I'm a bad influence.
This 25-year-old. I don't have time for this right now. I have other things I want to do with my life right now.
Like sleeping?
Sleeping, but also just other things. Like I'm like, actually, I don't even, this is all coming together in a way that I just can't orchestrate. Like, for example, there is a fascinating AI podcast that I was listening to, and I prioritized that above the one you sent me that you said was like, I don't remember what words you used, but it's like really good. We'll put a link in the show notes.
Okay. Also send it to me.
Yeah. It's also like dissuading. Scott Galloway had a guest on his podcast about it. And it also starts with him going into his whole resist and unsubscribe thing, which you would love. It was a great like pep talk about, and it's what I was saying at the beginning gave me some hope for the future.
Oh,
but I think that wasn't in our recording for what it's worth. But
I need some hope for the future.
It is why CEOs are getting AI wrong. And it was a guest that he has on his podcast called the Prof G podcast.
Why CEOs are getting the internet wrong.
Exactly. With Ethan Mollick. And it's just actually fascinating. But what to me is fascinating is how many connections there are in life, right? Like I'm being serious. Like we're going off on all these things, but it's like there's so many things where it all comes back together. And not everyone in your life can you have a conversation where the other person is actually able to make those connections. And that is one of the many things I love about you.
It's because you and I operate on a higher.
Yeah. No, I was. As she's saying that, I'm like pointing to my head, like in a very not.
Yeah, look at my brain.
Like I'm a little kid. I'm like pointing at my big brain in my head. Actually, that kind of hurt, honestly. Have you ever been slapped with a tortilla across your face?
I don't think I've ever been slapped, much less with it.
But you know what that is, right? It's like a thing. Social media people familiar. Do it. Sometimes you put water in your mouth and they slap you and you're not supposed to spit it out.
Oh,
but I think my kids forgot about the water part and they just
just did the slapping.
So my kids have done it before when they like have friends over. They like ask me to buy tortillas with other snacks and I'm like, that's weird. This doesn't go with. And they're like, no, we just need tortilla. And I was like, okay.
Tortillas and gummy bears.
But at this volleyball tournament we were just at, the kids are doing it to each other with leftover tortillas from our like taco bar night. And at one point, Kate's kind of they're in a really silly mood. They're having such a great time. They're having a good time. And Kate wants to slap me with a tortilla. And I'm like, why not? But she slaps me a little high and it like hits my eye socket kind of. And I was expecting more of a cheek jaw slap, but I think she sort of just missed. And I was like, that like really hurts. My point is, I think it really hurts to be slapped in the face with a tortilla. So I'm not sure why people do it.
My point is,
this all started.
It really hurts to be slapped in the face with a tortilla. That's my
And
point.
that is related to stealth wealth.
Not everyone's
Okay.
on the same intellectual plane
as us, which, okay.
Okay, stealth wealth. I have a question for you. Do you consider yourself someone who practices stealth wealth?
I do, yes. Very much so. 90% of the time, yeah. Which I think I think you could be on a continuum of stealth wealth, right? Like
I agree.
I'm not living in a way where I like look impoverished. Not that there's anything wrong with that, to be clear. I'm just saying like I look like I'm living in a, like I could afford more things than I allow myself to have because of what I believe in spending intentionally on, but also because I'm saving and planning for the future and I don't know what the future will entail.
Yeah, I would say insert insult about your outfits.
Oh, you mean my early retirement outfits? Oh.
Your outfits of the day.
Oh yeah. My outfits. Yes, I do. I stealth dress. Like you would never see me and think that I could afford nicer clothes is your point, I think.
Do you think having a podcast about having enough money to retire at 41 undermines your stealthiness?
I think that might be the 10% I mentioned when I say 90%. So if you opened up my accounts, if you listen to the podcast, often sometimes people will be like, oh, I'm really curious how much money you have. And I'm like, well, just like, if you like listen to like 50 episodes, you could probably triangulate it just based on things I've said and, what I believe in. And
if you go in and download all the transcripts and put it into an AI tool.
Into Notebook LM. Exactly. That actually, I want to do that and see what it tells me my net worth is. That'd be fun. Okay. Geez, you just keep taking us back to AI.
You already know your net worth.
No, I want to see how accurate it is.
I know. I'm just teasing.
Oh, okay.
Like, Maggie, you have a spreadsheet.
I was like, you're right. I do know my net worth. Wait. Okay. Do you consider yourself to be stealth wealth?
I think it's the kind of thing where we all probably want to think that, like, because if you're saying that you don't think that you have stealth wealth, you're either saying I don't have wealth, which that's fine. Fair for a lot of people, or I think you're saying that you're like ostentatiously.
Yeah,
and I don't think I'm ostentatious.
Yeah, I think you have stealth wealth.
I will say again. What you go?
No, go. It's just same point you made about me of like, I know you enough to know you have wealth, so it can't be 100% stealth, but like to the average person observing you, I think it's quite stealth.
I think it's interesting because I had moments where I felt a lot less stealthy, and so we bought a house that it cost more than $1 million.
That was less stealth for sure. Less
stealth. And so we moved into this house that was very expensive. And around the same time, my partner started working at a company, let's say a big tech company that's known for paying well.
There's a lot of those.
That you probably use today. I think Maggie probably used it.
Did I use it for AI?
4 minutes. And
wouldn't it be fun if he worked in AI for that company? Okay, keep going.
And around the same time, we bought a new to us car. It was a used car, but we traded and it's an
Audi, which I have discussed
for an Audi. Which
I consider an Audi a luxury brand. It is.
I didn't.
AI
know
considers
that
it a luxury brand.
I bought it. Yeah.
Should I ask Gemini if it's a luxury brand?
I think we understand. I think we know already. I think we have actual intelligence that tells us that it is. So around the same time, those three things came together, and I was feeling very unstealth, and it made me uncomfortable. So maybe I know that's a really long answer to that question, but maybe that indicates that I do have some level of stealth. Yes.
But can I ask you a question? I know it looks like I'm throwing up a peace sign. That was my hand. So my question is, that's a very interesting example. That to me, and I'm going to like make a statement that I don't know if it's accurate. So you tell me if this is right, but it's easier than me trying to form this into a question. To me, what you just said made you uncomfortable because some of those things actually were expensive and your partner had just lost their job. So it wasn't necessarily about the outward appearance of it that made you uncomfortable. Wasn't it the actual costs of the things that made you a little uncomfortable?
No, I think I felt comfortable. I felt comfortable with how much the house cost and how
Okay,
much.
you didn't feel like stressed about the money.
No, I wasn't
You
stressed
just
about the
okay.
money.
Well, then you're right. That is.
I felt like we had always been in a more stealth wealth mode because before buying that house, we'd always lived in a pretty modest, small place. We had driven more modest cars. I think we had jobs where maybe it wasn't totally as apparent, like quite how much we were making. And in that moment, I just felt like if I invited someone over for dinner and, anybody in our generation, as soon as you give them their address, they're looking your house up on Zillow or Redfin to see how much you paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then having the Audi parked in the driveway or not parked in the 3-car garage.
I know what you mean. Yeah. And you're right. My statement was, I don't want to say wrong, but I mean like, not because I'm not willing to say it's wrong, to be clear. I just mean like, I get what you're saying now of like, yeah, that sort of looked a little more flashy than you even like to look, I think.
I felt uncomfortable. I actually didn't tell anybody because we bought our house in early pandemic days. So we weren't having anybody over. I literally didn't tell anybody. Like I didn't tell friends, I didn't tell family, I didn't update my address.
Tell people you're renting.
I should have, but
and there's like 5 other people that live in this house with us. They're just gone a lot.
I just felt weird about it. I mean, you're not wrong though. I also felt funny about spending that much money. Not that we couldn't afford it. I just felt like a little bit of an identity crisis at losing my 50% plus savings rate. But to the point of this, I'm trying to stay on track with the point of this episode, Maggie.
Yeah, me too, Liz. We're both doing our best.
There was just a feeling of, people are going to look at this and have opinions. Because I think, do you feel that way when you see someone who's driving a really fancy car and they live in a big expensive house? Especially, I would say, in our little bubble of personal finance content, there's almost this idea that, that's like a dumb way to spend your money. That if you see somebody with flashy things, that means they're actually broke.
There's a lot of judgment thrown both directions, right? On like spending too much and spending too little, and which reminds people like, don't judge other people. And
I know.
And if other people are judging you, like, let it slide off your back because it shouldn't matter. But the idea of stealth wealth comes with it a thought that, or an assumption that like, you're driving a quote, like normal, well-maintained car, like nothing too fancy, not an Audi, maybe a Honda.
Do you think that my now 7-year-old Audi is that flashy or?
No, I don't think it's
I guess
flashy.
You don't know how old it is when you look at it.
The thing, I don't think any wealth is, I mean, I don't want to say any, but like, no, I don't think it's flashy at all. You also have one car. You're a one-car household, which changes it too. Now, if you had 2 Audis sitting in the driveway, I'd be like, oof.
Like 2 Teslas?
Yeah. But then we got really big credits. Liz, I would like to note you just stuck your tongue out at me. Like a little kid, the way I was pointing in my brain earlier. Okay. But also funny. It means like you live in I think often about like the house you live in and like, you live in a like, just not an overly ostentatious house. And some of it is all contextual and relative. So like Liz, it was, you guys had this big house and it was like a big, very cool, historic, neat house in a neat area. But it was 2 people living in it, right? Had a family of 5 been living in there, it might not have been the same. People might have made a different people might have made a different judgment, right? And so, but I think the spirit of it is there's all sorts of, angles you could look at it, but the idea of stealth wealth is the idea that what do you say?
I made a joke. I said Maggie is buffering.
That's funny. I'll leave that long pause in. So then your joke will be funny. Otherwise it wouldn't be funny. It's
I just sound like a jerk.
No, it's funny. to me that, what I am going for in life, and I think we are pretty like-minded in this respect, Liz, and many of the show hosts are, or co-hosts, show hosts, whatever, that we are striving for actually being wealthy. And wealthy can be defined a lot of ways, right? In terms of just not having a massive amount of money, but having enough to take care of the things that I prioritize and to spend intentionally on the things I care about. And we are not striving to look wealthy. And I think there are people that have that, balance backwards, in my opinion. Again, in my opinion, like I care more about being wealthy than looking wealthy. And I care more about having financial peace and security, not public validation for what it looks like I have, to the point where I can admit at times I have actually been judgmental to people where I see them looking rich or wealthy and wondering if they really are. I've always tell stories about my kids, and like, we'll be in the pickup line and they're like, oh my God, look at that person's G-Wagon. And I'm like, cool. And they'll say comments like, they must be so rich. And I'm like, they might be, or they might have a massively high car payment and be in debt and be stressed and be living paycheck to paycheck. We don't know. That's the thing I tell my kids. I'm like, you cannot judge what is happening with someone's actual financial position and security by what you see on the outside. And unfortunately, it often is like, an inverse relationship. And I want it to be an inverse relationship in the other way. I want it to be like an inverse relationship, which is what stealth wealth is. Did I just blow your mind with that? Reverse Uno, exactly.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you say you just don't know. You don't know. And the thing about stealth wealth is, I think when you're doing it right, people don't know. It's not that they think that you're broke. And it's not that they think that you're wealthy, and it's not that they think you might be wealthy, but you also might be in debt based on all this stuff. It's just, you don't know. It's like the least interesting thing about you. It's
not what you lead with.
Up. Exactly. I actually, it bugs me sometimes. I see, just because I spend too much time in this little bubble, that, when I see someone pulling up next to me at the stoplight with a Beamer, I know they're broke. And I'm like, you don't know anything.
You don't
like,
know.
Everybody I know who drives a nice car actually can afford that car.
Yeah.
You don't know.
You know what? I just heard this from some friends we were with this weekend. So I'm gonna believe it's true, and I'm not gonna go to AI and confirm, or Google. But I heard Bad Bunny used to drive like a Bugatti or something, and he got rid of it and drives like a Camry now. Or something like that. And not all, I'm sure he has other cars. I'm sure it's not his only car, but he got so much attention in that fancy car. He realized he could have anonymity when he just drove around in like a regular car. And so he got rid of that. And that is strategic stealth wealth. If you're a celebrity, like, it doesn't help you to drive around and you're trying to not get, it's hard to be a celebrity, complain about everyone following you around while you're driving around in like an orange Bugatti. I don't know what color his Bugatti was. I'm just using that as an example.
But Bad Bunny, let me just tell you that you could also drive around in a 2019 Audi e-tron and also not draw any attention. And then you would have massaging seats and CarPlay and all the fun things.
So I did validate this, by the way, but this
Bad
is a
Bunny
headline.
Used to drive a Bugatti. Why does that sound like the beginning of a limerick?
I know. Bad Bunny, who I'm a big fan of, loved the Super Bowl show, but he once traded his $3 million Bugatti to drive an old Toyota in Puerto Rico.
$3 million for a car. Yeah,
that's crazy. That alone, I just can't imagine. Okay,
here's the thing: if you're driving a $3 million car and your hope is to impress people, the downside is, like, I wouldn't even have any idea how much that car cost.
I know.
I would look over and see maybe a fancy looking sports car, and I would go, wow, I bet that car costs like $150,000.
Right. Yeah. I can't even fathom spending that much money on a car. Okay. So the cool thing about stealth wealth is that it is the ultimate financial hack, because it eliminates what we've done many episodes on, which is some of the biggest threats to wealth accumulation. Like, some of the biggest threats to growing your money are external pressure and lifestyle creep. So if you can eliminate those, and if you want to do it under the guise of stealth wealth, and that makes you feel better It doesn't really matter why stealth wealth makes you feel better, right? For Bad Bunny, it's because he just wants to live a peaceful life and not get like mobbed everywhere he goes by paparazzi and fans and stuff. But for Liz and I, who don't get mobbed everywhere we go, we want stealth wealth just because it aligns with our values, and we're not trying to, for me, it's who I naturally am. Like I don't actually even desire like a fancy purse or I don't know, certain thing. I like a nice car that is fun to drive and reliable and all that. But like, there's a lot of things I don't even desire that help me. Well, it helps me save money because I'm less influenced by some of the external pressure, and I've been able to not allow my lifestyle to creep as much. So I think it is worth covering, since I don't think we're going to cover a lot of things in any formal way in this episode, Liz. If people haven't caught on to that yet, then I don't know.
This is a good one.
Bless your heart. Yeah. But I do think it's worth saying, these benefits are, the idea of stealth wealth, it crushes lifestyle creep. So as your income rises, it is so easy for your discretionary spending to increase right along with it. It's the whole hedonic treadmill. We talk about it all the time. But if you can fight this lifestyle creep, you can funnel all that extra money into appreciating assets like investments, et cetera, and not depreciating liabilities like fancy. I wouldn't even call a house a house bigger than you need is a liability, arguably, right? A car nicer than you need is a liability in many, schools of thought. And I think it is just a good reminder that, like, this simple act of not allowing lifestyle creep to take over your life or to, creep into your life, because it often is it's not a overnight takeover. It is a small growing creep that all of a sudden catches up with you. That is how long-term savings are achieved. That is how I was able to retire early at the age of 41, and my husband was 43. And I think it's a really cool concept, and I think it's very important.
I'm with you. It's interesting. I think it sounds like your stealth wealth aims have better motivations than mine. I think I just feel uncomfortable. Like I feel weird and uncomfortable and show offy and like somehow guilty when people I had a hard time living in that big house. Like when we would have someone come to clean or like look at the plumbing or do whatever, I just felt like they were going to roll up and have judgments.
I think it's because that is a core part of your identity, though. And some people's identity, they are seeking for wealth to be a core part of their identity, external wealth. And And so it's funny, another pro we were going to talk about, and I say we were because, we've not talked about half of it, but like is just the authentic relationships, right? Like you eliminate a lot of awkwardness with friends and family when you live more modestly. And that was kind of your point of like, you're saying you felt kind of awkward at times when people would come over. And I remember a story where a very good friend kind of told me she felt uncomfortable around another friend who did have a lot of wealth and was not purposely bragging about it. I really don't think she was, but she was sort of so flippantly talking about how easy it was for her to just like pay outright for things that were massively expensive. And this other person is like stressed about, and this was years ago, but this other person is like a common theme in their life is they're stressed about their finances. And so they didn't want to be around this other person. And I'm not, that's not a judgment against either person. It's just a reality, right? And so I think having more stealth wealth, one of the big pros to it is you make everyone else around you comfortable. And it is not your job in life to make everyone else around you comfortable, but it certainly doesn't hurt. I don't know a better way to say that.
It creates awkwardness sometimes. I stuck my foot in my mouth the other day and I was really embarrassed because somehow the topic of...
Like literally? Is this a hyperbole again?
I'm so flexible, Maggie. And I was just showing off and it was... No.
Oh my gosh, you can. Sorry, I just tried to put my foot in my mouth and I got far, but you just got really far. You're
I could have got,
flexible.
yeah, I bit my actual toe.
That's
I don't know why I
impressive.
did that. Also, I know we have a video podcast.
This is turning into a new kind of podcast.
I was in a group of people and we started talking about retirement, and someone said, oh, that person who we were talking about is retiring and they're so young. And I said, well, I think she's 60. And someone said, oh yeah, that's really young. And I feel like I really stuck my foot in my mouth. And I was like, if I still have a job when I'm 60, something went really wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And the face you just made.
Foot in mouth, depending on who you're around. Yes.
I mean, these weren't people it wasn't like you, right? Where,
yeah,
on a scale of like you to not you. But I do feel like I've said in this group of people, like, oh yeah, I definitely want to retire early. Like that is a goal. I won't say like, oh, my bank account has this much money in it, but I will say I really want to retire early. And I think it's like good for my health. I think I'm too stressed at work and I don't think it would be good for me to work for that long.
But had you made that comment at like a fire event, Camp Fi, totally fine.
Nobody would have
landed well.
Exactly.
If you make it in front of the average person, like 60 is not the average retirement age. It is well above average. Can I ask
below average?
What is the average retire? Yeah, I'm not going to ask AI. The average retirement age in the U.S. is actually 62. So I don't think you put your foot as far in your mouth as you thought. You should have thrown. You should have been like, well, actually, guys.
Next time I will.
You should have pushed those glasses right up.
I'm going to try to bring that up. Okay. Did we?
There is one that I really want to mention. The other benefit I really love to stealth wealth, and that is important to me and relevant for those who have kids or even just are around other people's kids, nieces, nephews, etc., is I think you are teaching your kids, in my opinion, better. But this whole podcast is in my opinion. I shouldn't have to say that, but is my opinion or your opinion or your actually opinion on top of my opinion.
To be clear, this is a thought from my own brain, not from AI.
Yes. Is that you are teaching them much better financial lessons and setting a better example for them, right? You are teaching your kids, let's say you have a lot of money, but you're spending it much more intentionally and you are truly practicing stealth wealth, which again, stealth wealth is on a spectrum depending on what you actually have versus what you're displaying to others. And like I think almost all things in life are on a spectrum. You're teaching your kids about moderation, about what really matters in life and so many other things, right? Like I want to surprise and delight my kids. Greg and I recently did an episode on this on like, what was it?
Oh, yeah. Not early inheritance, but
should we leave our
generational wealth?
Yeah, generational wealth. It was a really good episode. Y'all should go listen to it.
I thought it was a good episode. I listened to it already.
Oh, thanks.
I know you weren't talking to me, but
I don't say that about every single podcast, but I think that was particularly like we had a lot of good feedback on that one.
Well, I think, bringing full circle, I think that was a good episode where you went in and said, here's something I changed my mind about. Here's something I used to have ideas about. And then
you're right.
Got more information. And I changed it, which, as I said, is one of my favorite things about you.
It took me a minute to see where you were going with that.
I know, because you looked annoyed for a second. You were like, we got to wrap it up.
No, I know. I was like, come on, rabbit hole. But I do. So like, I want to surprise and delight my kids with some financial gifts and generosity over time when they are old enough to appreciate and value those things. And I still treat my kids all the time, right? But I do it in moderation. We talk a lot about money. I don't talk in a shameful way about money with them. But I have joked before many times. I think I've said it on the podcast. I've even said it in front of my kids as they get older that like, I want them to think we have way less than we do because I only think that benefits them. And I've joked before of like, I want my kids to think I don't want them to think I'm so stressed about money. That's not a helpful feeling, right? Yeah. But I don't want them to think that like, as my dad used to always joke, there's no money tree in the backyard, right? I don't want them to think there's a money tree in the backyard.
You want them to see the value of money.
Yeah.
Do you ever worry, or have you had any moments where you felt like maybe you were swinging so far on that spectrum that you were creating any kind of guilt or shame or?
Oh, so far on that spectrum. Yeah, I have had times and we'll talk about it. So I mean, this is like a big example, but we were putting in like an extra driveway pad. Like we were extending our driveway so that Maddie had a place when she got her car, when she had a place to park in the driveway and not on the street, which we felt was important for a number of reasons. Just being a good neighbor also, and not having her car on the street all the time.
Okay.
Also just like safety and security and just it being a little closer for her and stuff. But when we did that, she knew she had just gotten a car and that was, you know, a big investment. And she was like, I don't want you guys to have to spend. Sometimes the kids will be like, well, I don't want you to have to spend money on that. Like, I feel bad. I'm fine to park in the street. And I was like, oh, it's fine, Maddie. It's something we can afford. We're not like going into debt over it. It's a reasonable investment in our house. We've got 2 more kids coming behind you that are going to have cars. We can't have like 3 cars parked, you know, like, and this is not, we're not like, we don't live in a parking on the street neighborhood. So it is abnormal. It's not like we're in the city and there's every, you know, cars on the street every day.
That's normal.
Yeah. It's a little annoying. People have to go around you and it's like a whole thing. And so it's fine for a day or 2, but I don't want her parking on the street for 2 years and then 2 sisters coming behind her doing the same. And so, but so sometimes the kids will.
You don't want to just park on the lawn.
That's an option too.
Isn't that a thing in Georgia? Just teasing.
It's illegal. Yeah. So there have been other circumstances where as the kids get older, they'll sort of like check if something's okay. And I'm like, okay, well guys, just to be clear, like we're going to be fine, right? Like we're not struggling here. But I do think it is important, even after last year's expense review. This is fascinating, Liz. The expense review we just did, you know, just a month or two ago.
I was there.
You were there. We spent a lot of money. We spent a lot of money on like, I like to like treat my kids and we've been eating out more and like it really brings them joy. They like certain things, you know, they like going to Starbucks. I'm like your kids.
I'm with them. Yeah.
Yeah. And we have been saying no more often and cutting back some, not to nothing, but cutting back we've had some big wins. I keep meaning to share our January spend on Instagram. It's like positive. It's in the right direction. We're doing okay. And
I like it.
What's so funny is the response from the kids is so like, oh, okay. Like they're just like a brief second of disappointment when you say, no, we're not going to Starbucks right now. And I'll put limits in place, you know, like Kate will ask for Chipotle or something. I'm like, cool, we'll go once this week. What day do you want to go? And she's like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to wait till Thursday after practice, you know, and
that's great.
We've very quickly, you know, as quickly as we increased our spending with them and eating out, we've just put some limits in place and their response has been very resilient. I'll put it that way.
That's great.
And it just reminds me like, you're the adult, you can control what limits and what moderation you teach your kids and how you intentionally talk about money. I haven't said we're struggling and we're not going to be able to pay the mortgage. We might be on the street next week. I'm not stressing them out because that's not the case. What I have said is we're going on this big trip to Thailand this summer where that's a very expensive trip. We spent a ridiculous amount of money. We did our expense review. You know, like we didn't realize how much we were spending. And we're trying to be more thoughtful and we're trying to save for other priorities. And you guys are going into college in the next few years and we're really saving up for that. And so I just think, you know, if you do have kids, one of the most important things you can teach your kids is financial knowledge. It's not giving them money. It's not handing them anything. It's giving them the knowledge that many of us didn't get financially as kids.
Mindset. Yeah.
Yes. And
the knowledge
that is one of the benefits.
Compound growth, but also just the mindset of we spend money in the places that it brings us the most value.
Yeah. And seeing it intentionally, like in practice every day versus just saying it. That is one of the best gifts you can give your kids. That's one of the best generational wealth pieces you can give your kids.
100%.
And stealth wealth allows you to give your kids more of that. That's just another pro of like why we're pushing the stealth wealth angle.
It sounds like you're
lifestyle
being really thoughtful with the way that you talk to them about money.
We are. It's funny. Someone replied on Instagram about something I posted or from the episode and said to me kind of be careful. I mean, they were saying it in a nice way, but they said be careful because, you know, I had a stepmom and she made us feel terrible about money and every single cost we ever incurred. And like the way you talking to your kids about money, like be careful. And I was like, oh no, I appreciate you sharing that. But I hope I've never like shamed my kids or made them feel like a burden. There is a very, I think, big line but maybe a fine line for some people. But a very big line between that and between talking intentionally and kindly and openly and transparently with your kids about money.
Yeah. I think it is a fine line, only because I remember my mom, really lovely, and I can look back and see well-intentioned, and I can see how she thought this was going to go well way, sort of sat me down, and her intention was actually to show me that her income alone could cover our bills, like without my dad's. But I kind of missed that part. And so
we don't need your dad.
I was like, oh, but we have no money left over. Like,
I thought you took it as like, well, we don't need your dad. He's fine.
No.
Oh, okay.
Because it was like just, she didn't earn as much as my dad. And she was showing me, okay, after all this, after you take out the rent and the groceries and whatever, there's basically kind of like nothing left over. And then I went in my room and turned off all the lights and started crying. And I was like, I don't want to be poor.
You thought we're living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah. And I didn't understand. And then my dad was like, okay, so like, here's how much money I make. I'm like, we're literally fine. I was like, oh, okay, sorry. I misunderstood.
But that is the fine line, right? And I appreciate, back to your point on I'm open to feedback, I appreciated that person sharing that perspective, because I was like, no, I do, especially as a step parent, right? I want to be cognizant of that. And there are times even where in a blended family, the kids will want something, and it is something that we're not like nickel and diming it, but really should come out of child support and is the spirit of that. And so we are sometimes, even as they get older, we have shared like, oh, look, your mom is buying you a lot more back to school clothes, and she wants to and agrees with that and is kind of, quote, supposed to, and is being given, very reasonable and large sums of money for that. And so we aren't going to buy you as much of that, right? Versus I'm on the flip side of that with Kate. And so we do sometimes talk about that. Because I think it's important as the kid, not for like a 5-year-old, but as the kids get older, to understand some of those dynamics, even in a blended family. And anyways, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but I have actually gotten a lot of requests for episodes on that rabbit hole. So one day perhaps we will.
Can I close this out with an amazing DM that I got that I meant to screenshot and send to you, but I didn't. So just surprise. Here is a message from Cheryl. And she said, it's like 5 sentences, but it's going to the point that we were just talking about, I promise. Just wanted to say that my almost 11-year-old listens to podcasts with me. And I'm going to say this because I know that the other co-hosts don't listen to the podcast. And he will only listen to Inside Out Money if, quote, it's a Liz episode. He said he likes the singing. We listened to the Dead episode last night.
He likes the singing.
He likes the singing.
We haven't sung yet in this episode.
I know. I just was thinking.
Is it Ryan? That's his name. Hey, Ryan, we're glad you like the singing.
We love singing to you, Ryan.
It's starting to sound kind of creepy. We're singing to an 11-year-old kid. Let's rein it back in, Liz.
All right. Cheryl says, we listened to the Debt episode last night. I paused it and discussed with him my last car purchase, how I put a significant amount down and financed with my quote unquote golden boy credit score. That's a reference to a story I love to tell about my dad, where the guy walked out of the car dealership place and with my dad's credit score in hand and said, "You're the golden boy." Cheryl says, but then paid it off quickly. We talk a lot about being intentional with our spending and being discerning customers. Your financial banter sinks in well with him because you're not all doom and gloom about spending. And the message of spending carefully on things that are really worth it hits home. And guess what? Last week was Ryan's golden birthday. He turned 11 on the 11th.
Wow. Happy birthday, Ryan.
Ryan.
Hey, if Ryan and his mom are listening, or maybe you could just message them too. I would love to send Ryan some stickers. 11-year-olds like stickers, right? I'll send you some Inside Out Money stickers.
Only the appropriate stickers, not the stickers with.
Some of them do say, though I was at Camp Fine, a bunch of little kids that were there wanted the ones that say "Stop Buying Stupid," SHI, but it's like an asterisk T. Yeah. And their parents said they could have them, put them on their water bottle. And they were Ryan's age. So
okay. Well, Ryan, you tell us what stickers you want. You can have any sticker you like.
You tell us which ones you want. That is so cool. That right there is why we do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's why I do this, at least.
Just for Ryan, for nobody else.
Just for the Ryans out there,
Yeah,
Ryan's a hyperbole. Let me be clear, Liz. Ryan's a hyperbole. Do you need me to explain to you what a hyperbole is?
And
I misused it anyways.
Is it metonymy? No, I'm trying to go through all my literature. I'm like, is it an allegory?
Actually, Ryan is not a hyperbole. He's
a metaphor, analogy.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways,
hey, I want to mention one thing. Okay.
Yes.
Because we just talked about some of the pros. I will say it is worth noting, like, are there any cons to being stealth wealth? I don't personally think any of the cons outweigh the pros, but I do like to cover all the angles on something. If you can't tell, Liz and I like to cover all the angles. A potential con, which I think is worth risking, is you could forego certain social benefits or professional validation that comes from certain outward signs of success. I think I've told a story before about how at one point the director of HR commented to me about like what I wore to work.
Oh yeah.
I think just that I needed to like step it up a little bit and like look, dress the part a little more. That's fair.
Some of your work outfits, I think you were fine. Okay.
Well, no, you probably saw the work outfits after I stepped it up. This was This was earlier as I was, ascending up the career ladder. And so if you practice too much excessive wealth, it could create. I remember Greg at times, every now and then he had to drive doctors around in his job. His job was not to drive them around, but he worked with a lot of doctors because he was on the business side in healthcare. Mm-hmm. And sometimes he'd like take somebody out to lunch or something. And he was always like, oh, I'm kind of embarrassed for them to like get in my old dirty Prius with like goldfish in the seat. I was like, well, you could at least like vacuum it out first,
Yeah. A clean car is
a clean, reliable car is, I think, quite sexy actually. And right. So the goal is not to like look destitute, right? It doesn't need to be like impeccable and you don't need a fancy car, but I think it is just worth noting that those could be some considerations. I personally don't think they matter, right, to the people that should matter to you. And I think there's ways around that. Like, for example, a clean car, it doesn't matter what your car is if you're, doing something work related.
I see your point there. I think the bigger con is what we just talked about is you could get weird about it. You could make your kids weird about it. You could get to the point where if you give yourself a complex about it, or you're going to the point where you're not owning things that you actually would enjoy and love. Like, okay, I know we've talked about cars a lot. I know talking about cars is kind of a personal finance cliche. I actually love my car. Her name is Carmen Electra. I think she is the greatest car in the world. She has massaging seats. It's like almost full self-drive. It's not full self-driving like a Tesla, but like on the freeway, it'll basically drive itself. It is really comfortable. It's really quiet. It's really pretty. I just think this is the best car in the world. And if I didn't buy it because I felt so weird about driving a luxury car that I wouldn't let myself buy it, then I would be missing out on something that I actually enjoy and really love and appreciate and can afford.
And have worked hard for. Yeah, I agree. I don't know if I worked harder than anybody
else, but I do have the money in my bank account for it. So
I do think if you love that car so much and her name is Carmen Electra and you've referred to as or her, you should quit calling it. Because that just feels a little condescending, but like it's an object of yours or something.
I'll take that into consideration.
The girl that drives you around. The lady. My car is called Lady Gray in the Tesla app. You can name your car. Mine's Lady Gray. Yeah. She's gray. So
mine's named
that's why I say a lady.
Car in the Audi app too. They can be friends. There should be like Facebook for cars, like so they could be friends on whatever social platform. Lady Gray.
Okay. We're really falling apart at the seams here. Even Ryan's probably like fallen off by now.
Tuned out.
So but here's the other thing related to that car example. In the FI community, there sometimes can be, it's like you're getting judged on the opposite end. I mean, I remember
100%.
My old co-host, Mike. My old co-host, Mike.
What was his name?
Mike. My old co-host, Mike on Friends on Fire, being like, almost the opposite of judging me for like spending too much money that I could afford, right? And sometimes he would joke, and his wife too, of like, "Are you even fi?" And I was like, "Why? I am." But I think there's people who now there's sort of a big wave of people talking about like die with zero, and as much as you can focus and obsess over the accumulation phase and then never actually enjoy spending your money. I do think there's a value in being able to spend what you have and focusing on the decumulation phase. And stealth wealth, I guess one of the cons could be that you become so caught up in that identity that you are not even willing to spend on things that would add value to your life and would be intentional. And so, yeah, that is something to be careful about. And I think just be cautious about.
Fully agreed.
Okay. I think
we did it. I think it's done.
I think we did it. There were some other things we were going to talk about around this, but you know, we lost that privilege and right when we talked for 40 minutes about, I don't even remember what, but I enjoyed myself, and that's all that matters. This is an ad-free podcast. You didn't pay anything to listen to this. We will never charge you anything, even though we make Patreon jokes all the time. And I don't want to say we'll never charge you, but we haven't, and we don't plan on it. And this is ad-free. And so if you are annoyed by what we did or didn't talk about today, I don't know.
You probably already skipped. You're probably not listening anymore.
I was just going to say this might not even be the right place for you. But we appreciate you listening. We love it. If you like that person that sent you a message, that is so nice. I don't know if that was in a review, but we get so many lovely messages, and I never reply to people. I always reply to people, but I never, when I reply, I'm always just like, thank you so much. But I never reply. And I'm like, have you left that in a written review? Cause that would be really helpful for the interwebs to see that. So if you want to leave us a written review.
I looked this morning.
What are we at?
Weirdo narcissist. And I think Inside Out Money is sitting at 297 reviews.
Wow.
So
that's 3 away from.
Could be 200.
I see 293 on my end. So we need 7 more.
I think
you were close.
I'm a little dyslexic about numbers.
Maybe you can see the future is actually what you are. Maybe you're projecting to what it will be by the time.
No, I think I just saw, we need 7. And then in my brain that turned into 297.
I got you. Yeah. Okay.
My bad.
Well, you could be one of the 7 that gets us to 300. How good would that feel? And it would be stealth because those reviews are anonymous, so we would not know. Back to the stealth wealth. It'd be like a stealth review.
It's basically just a good deed. It's charitable giving almost.
Basically, yeah. Fully tax deductible.
All right. We both have to. I have to go to work. You have to go take your car to the shop. Both of those things are important.
Okay, they are important. So thank you so much. Share this episode with someone. Maybe you start with a different episode you share with someone in case they want more. Don't start with this one. Just share the podcast with them, not this specific episode. But if you have any thoughts or questions, we would love to hear from you. You can leave us a voicemail or text us at 404-981-3370, or you can hit us up on Instagram. A specific question I would love for you guys to answer is, we maybe should just do some of these like no topic episodes. And I would want to know, would people want some of those every now and then from Liz and I? Yes. Liz,
I think the answer is, first of all, the answer for me is yes. And I'm pretty sure that there is, maybe not everyone, but I think there's a subset of.
If we get enough yeses whispered to us or texted to us or messaged to us, or
we're people pleasers. So if you tell us you want something, we're going to do it.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Okay. Make the episodes shorter. We won't.
I know. Yeah. That we can't do. Sorry. We're only human. We can only do so much. Okay. Thanks, Liz.
That's it. Bye.
We did it. Bye. Bye, Ryan. Sorry, Ryan. We didn't sing more. Who was the other person? By who?
Cheryl, his mom.
Oh, Cheryl. Bye, Ryan's mom. You've raised a great son. We're so proud of you.
Pretty much the best parenting you could do is listening to us too.
Sounds like we're a bedtime story. Rhymes with story. You could put us on when your kids are going to bed, and then there will be financial dreams in their head.
Ooh, I like it.
I could do this all night long, but I'll see you later, Liz. Bye.
We could do this all night long, but it's the morning and I have to go to work.
It is.
See you later.
Bye.
Okay, bye.